Hello and welcome back to I have no idea what I'm doing. Now, I'm going to start off with an apology for missing last month's episode, but unfortunately I am very busy at the moment. Work is ramping up. I've got to get the conference videos from Frontend 2018 finished, and we've just announced Frontend 2019, so there's a lot of work involved in getting that up and running. So if you want to check that out, I'd recommend doing so. It's going to be a lot of fun. Unfortunately, sad times, this does mean that I'm going to have to start wrapping up this video series because I don't have the time to dedicate to it properly. This series is and was all about learning Vuex, and I think I've done that now. I've got a decent grasp on the concepts of Vuex, and we've got quite a way through making a decent app with it. So as far as learning goes, we've achieved our goal. I just want to spend a little bit of time wrapping up this Cards Against Humanity app into something that is a bit more usable and something that we can actually deliver. So we're going to rub out this big sad face and focus on something else, and that is the minimum viable product. So basically the least amount of work we can do to get this thing finished. We're going to put all of the things in the want list that would just be nice to have, and all of the things in the need list that really we do need to finish this off. If we do everything in the need column, we should have a decent app with the minimum amount of changes. So what do we need? We need black cards. The game doesn't work at all without black cards. It's just pointless. We had them previously. We can probably revive some of that CSS. We just need to make a new component. That should be a relatively easy win. One thing that would make black cards difficult to implement is something that we're going to put in the want pile. Game logic. That'll handle things like whose turn it is, what goes into like the blank spaces on the black cards, who has points, who the winner is, whose the cards are at the time, things like that. They'd be nice to have, but really we don't need them. You can trust the players a little bit to enforce their own rules. Rooms. So one of the issues that we have with the cards at the moment is that the data can kind of get lost. Like if a player logs on, takes a load of cards into their hand and then logs off, all of the cards have disappeared and nobody else has any cards left to play with. This is like the real world equivalent of turning up to your mate's house, starting a game of cards, and then just taking your hand of cards home with you. But if we have different rooms and we clone the base deck to each room, then when a player leaves, they've only took it from that room and not from the game itself. So this is a little bit harder to implement, but it shouldn't be too difficult. I think that's something we're probably going to look at today. Another thing for the want column: mobile views. So being able to view it on your phone a little bit nicer. Currently the views that we have don't really work at all on phones. It's not a very responsive or mobile or device friendly kind of app, which is kind of what it set out to be. But it's not really a requirement. What would be a requirement is better views. So not necessarily separate mobile views. Like originally I had planned for a mobile view for the hand, and then there was like a big screen view for the like the game area and things like that. We don't need them. We can just kind of repurpose the test area for different sorts of things, but we still need to rework them to be a little bit better. There's some bugs in there that need ironing out. Another thing we want, which is not really part of the game, but it's something that I'd like as part of the app, and that is tests. They have been the bane of my life in this series, because as I'm learning, things are changing so much, and then the things I'm testing then change, so the tests are wrong, and the tests break, and the tests fail, and then I have to mock Firebase tests, and that proved more difficult than I was expecting. But this is not a video series about testing, this is a video series about Vuex, so tests, they're firmly in the want column. So I'm going to go away, I'm going to make issues for all these things, and if anyone wants to pick some of them up, please feel free to do so. But for today, we're going to focus on rooms. Okay, so how is the data going to work? So if I open up Firebase, which I have here, I've got a general idea of how it's going to work. So previously we've had collections, and inside our collections we have what would be our deck, our player. In fact, if I just start dishing out some cards so that we've got more than one thing. There we go. See, we've got the player ID here, the deck, and we've got the play area. Now, if we want separate rooms, what we want is we don't pretend this isn't here, we delete this. And then we have inside rooms, we have our room IDs. And then inside there, we then have collections. And then inside there, we would then have everything that would be inside here. So we would have a deck, we would have a play area, and we would have a load of player hands. So what we need to do is we need to set up a load of routing to say, this is the room I want to play in, or this is the room I'm involved in. And then we should be able to route things room first, and then just everything else should, in theory, just kind of work from there. So, starting with the roots, app.view, I will leave that open. I want roots. We open up roots, and we want to insert a new root. For room ID, component of, let's call it room for now. And we want to, I've got one of these Macs without a proper keyboard on, and I keep missing the escape key, which is fun. So if you start seeing random letters, that's me trying to use Vim. Room screen. No, I don't need that. Just call it room. This doesn't exist yet, so. Right. Oh, card screen. Room.view. Right, now we don't have room.view, so if I open up test screen, I'm just going to duplicate that and call it, for now, room.view. It should, actually, if I just go to /room, /ID of test, yeah. Okay. So this is just a clone of our test room, but it's at a different route now. But what we can do, if I do H1 here, how do we do it in card? Test. No, it was card screen. root.params.text. So I should be able to just do root.params.id, I think it was. Oh, I did put it in the right place originally. Either we go, so test or whatever we want. So this will be our room ID. We'll put it back to test for now. So what we're aiming to do here is we're aiming to get the cards from the test room here, rather than these collections. So what have I got in here? I've got 2 cards. So if we have a hand with 2 cards in, or a deck, sorry, with 2 cards in, we know we're doing the right thing. Right, so what do I want to do now? What do I want to do? I don't need this anymore. I want to make that a computed. Call it room ID. And we want to return root.params.id. So I should be able to do here room ID that should still. Oh, it's not working. Oh, because this dot. There we go. This dot tripped me up again. Yeah, so I don't need that H1 anymore. Everything can go back to normal. What I want is a way of passing that room ID to where we're getting the cards. So how do we currently get the cards? It is in a getter. So cards.js. There we go. So I'm getting. I want to change the Firebase database ref. Okay, so it's fetch collections. We want to change. I want to pass the room ID in here. And this just wants to be let collections. So what all I'm doing here is saying when I fetch the collections, I want to set the collections to be database ref, and that wants to be room. Oh, I don't want to delete collections actually. I just want to get these back ticky ticks. I want rooms slash room ID slash collections. Okay, now that is going to not work. Good. Not working is in this case what we want, because we've not set the room ID. Now where do we call fetch collections? Is it on app? Yes. It's not where we want it. We want it on the room. Oh. Before create this.store.dispatch fetch collections with this dot room ID. See if that works. Oh. Well, this is where we're expecting it to start working, so what's the issue again here? Kind of already play area of null. So looks like we're having an issue here, so let me just log out room ID undefined. So this is the issue. This dot room ID is not a thing. This dot. Oh right, okay, yeah. Dot. Let's just pass it in. Root dot params dot ID. Will it let me do it that way? Yes, of null because I've left this in. Hey, there we go. Right, okay, so let's get rid of this computed prop. So what was happening there, I think, could be wrong, was we had this computed prop for the room ID, and we were trying to pass it through to this dispatch, but it wasn't working because the component hadn't been created, so we hadn't worked out the computed property yet. So the computed property was undefined, so it was trying to get the room ID undefined, and let's just get rid of computed. Let's just directly pass in the root param there, because we don't need the computed param really. So yeah, that should work in theory. Now we're passing that through, and if I close this, we should have two cards. One, we do have 2 cards, but I would imagine, yeah. So then Firebase rules we set up a couple of episodes ago, they are fighting us right now. So I'm just going to go back in and do, I don't want to discard them. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll copy this, I'll make a new file, I'll put them in there. I'll save that as rules.json inside data, just so we don't get rid of them. And then we can set .write to true. Yes, I am aware of that. That's fine. Yeah, let's just hope that nobody messes about with our data while we're doing this, because that will be problematic. But in theory, we can now. Yeah, there we go. We've got our 2 cards, so we are getting it from. If I go back into data, you can see room, test, collections, and we've got the player there. And if I just put one of these cards in the player area, there we are. So we now have different rooms. Brilliant. So that works. We just need different ways of creating them rooms now. Let me just commit this and I will be right back. Okay, so what I want is a little helper that creates a room. So if we go on app.vue, let's see, what's our home page like at the moment? It's probably a load of rubbish. Yes, it is completely blank. So what I'm going to do, pardon, up here I want to create a button, and I want this button to say new game, and it's going to look absolutely beautiful in this talk. Oh, look at that. Forget flat design and web 2.0, look at this, eh? Right, button wants an app click equals new game, and that's probably all it wants on it. And I want in here, I want a methods, new game, and this wants to create as a new game. So okay, so what I want to do is to create a new game. I want to, actually there's a step 1 missing here, a step 0 let's call it. Let's start counting at 0 like real developers. We want to get the card seed data and then copy all the cards to a new room and then navigate to that new room. So to get all the card seed data, I want to import cards, will do for now, from data. Am I coming out? Oh yeah, I want to go / data. What are we looking at? Data collections.json. Yeah, no, that is what I want. That is exactly what I want actually. Collections.json. And I also want to import, no, not yet. Okay, yeah, okay, so that's step 1 is already done up here in the import, so that should be cards. And then I want to copy them all to a new room, so I want to import our Firebase helper from, is it inside data as well? Yes, data Firebase. That should work in theory if I just here console.log cards. No, where's length coming from? Cards. Let's have a look at the console. Oh, I need to click new game. There we go, collections. Happy days, right. And then we want to do in the same way that we've done. Where is it? I don't need that anymore. Don't want that anymore. Room.view. Probably want that. Don't need that. Cards. Right, yeah. Dot set. I wonder if collections.child. This is wrong, but we'll do this for now. Child banana. Yeah. That wants to be firebase.database.ref rooms, and that wants to be set to cards, and then we want to navigate to that new room. View router navigate. I don't know, I can't remember how you do it. Everything's always just a Google away. Programmatic navigation, this is what we want. Router.push. So router.push. I need to build that up with root. In fact, let me just const room ID equals banana, set that to room ID, router.push rooms / room ID. So in theory, do I need to import router? Very possibly. Let's just do it. Import router from just view router, maybe. Yes, that's good. Right, that's fine. Okay, so that should, in theory, when we press new game, it should create a room ID constant of banana, log out all the cards that we've just fetched, connect to Firebase, hit the rooms, and then in the room ID child we want to set it to the cards that we've collected, and then it should send us to that room ID. So let's see. I very much doubt this is going to work first time. View router.push is not a function. Okay, well, did it create the... Oh, it did create the room. And it's got collections and the... Okay, so the creation of the room worked. It was just our router stuff that didn't work, which is interesting. Have I got something wrong here? Inside of a Vue instance, you'll have access to the router instance as $router. Okay, so it's this $router. And then we don't need to import it there. Okay. That's what we want to do. New game. Now this is going to create banana again. And it's sent us to banana. But something's not right. What's not right here? Oh, that's strange. Ha! Yeah. And then if we go banana there. Yeah. Yep. Okay, it's not rooms. It's room / room ID. So if I... There, we see it's worked. If I go home... We go new game, and we should get all 10 cards in this new room. And we've got banana with, yes, mint. Right, so if I just delete banana, this should, in theory, break. And we got home page where we've got nothing. And click new game. We've got a new banana room. Oh, happy days. Right. Now, we just need to get rid of the bananas. There's two ways we can do this. We can get Firebase to generate a UID for us, but that involves reading documentation, and I don't really know the best way to do that. So I am just going to do npm UID. Or is it UUID? I don't know which one it is. It's one of these. Yep, that's all we want. Right. In the browser using component, never heard of that. Right, UID. So we want yarn add UID. Okay, and I want to import UID from UID. Let's, oh, that was unintentional. Put that at the top. And then room ID is UID dot, how does it work? Oh, not even dot, just UID, and let's say 10. Defaults to 7. 10's better, 10's fine. Now in theory, if we go back over here, new game, there we go, random UID. Haha, happy days. Happy days. Right, so that's doing pretty much everything we wanted to do. I would imagine there may be a small bug. If I just empty this deck and then hit new game again. Yeah. Okay, so what's happening here is we're generating a new room, but we're not actually connecting to that new room until we refresh the page. And that is because room.view is set to before create fetching the collections, which is not what we want. Well, we do want that on before create, but we want it to do it every time the URL changes. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at the Vue component lifecycle again, because we want a point in the lifecycle that says, okay, so the route has changed. I need to actually fetch the data a little again. Alligator.io seems to have been a staple for some of these issues over the actual Vue documentation, which I'm going to open in a new tab actually. Yeah, because I'm sat in this fancy chair, I don't actually have my internet plugged in directly, so I don't have very fast internet today, which is fun. Okay, so it's looking like the life cycle's not the right place, because thinking about it, what we really want here is this before update or updated, so that when the data changes, we can check. We can get the cards again, but realistically, we don't want to be doing that often. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to set up a watcher. And I want to watch for this root params ID, and then when that's updated, I want to fetch them again. So watchers are weird. I don't know if I can set a watcher up directly on this. So for now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to do computed, and I'm going to bring back our root ID property. And I'm going to say return this dot root dot params.id, and I'm going to set up, not in there, in here, I'm going to set up a watcher for root ID, and I'm going to say console.log just to check, ping, console.log, and then I want to do this again. Put that comma back in, and then let's see if I inspect, so we can get the console up, and I go back to our previous, there we go, right, so And then we've got our console login that URL. Okay, that's good. Do I need before creating this? Does it ping when I refresh the page? It does not, so I still need both. Root.params.id. I can probably just do this sort of root ID here. I don't know if that makes anything even remotely better, but there we are. So yeah, okay, that still works. Right, let's get rid of that console log and see if I can do in this watcher. Oh yeah, that was stupid. Right. Set this watcher to, instead of watching root ID, to be root.params.id. It's probably not going to like this. Let's put this in a... Oh, well, this is working. That actually works. That can't be right. Ha! It does work. So we don't need this computed property. We just need this really weird watcher. Fine. I can live with that. I can live with that. Like I say, we're just learning, and we're getting this finished now. So now, whenever we create a new game, we get a new deck, and we can put it in our hand. We get a new deck, and we also get a new play area. And these mobile views are fighting me. But good, that is working. And I think that is probably about all we've got time for today, really. Okay, good. So we now have separate rooms, and we can see if we open this room in a new tab, we access just that room, and just this room updates. So if I start moving things in the deck, and we look across the other tab, you can see we've moved in the deck. But if we go to a different room that we've created, we move the cards about, it doesn't affect this room because it's an entirely different data set. So you can start sharing these rooms with your friends and playing Cards Against Humanity within the safety of a room. Okay, so that's it for today. We've got rooms done, so we can rub that out. And next episode, we are going to look at fixing the views and getting them black cards back in. And then I think that's probably going to be about it for the series. Once this series is wrapped, look out for the upcoming videos from our 2018 conference. And if you're local to the north of England, please come and visit us in 2019. I will also be attending the Vue.js conference in London on the 21st of September. So if you're there, come say hi. I'll be at the GitLab booth all day and I'd love to meet you. Just remember, I have no idea what I'm doing.